Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Express, which is becoming everyone's favorite talk show. It is profoundly real and interesting, so without any further delay, please help me welcome back to the stage the beautiful and expressive director of Express, Carolyn. Carolyn, take it away.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Express Talk Show. This is your host, Carolyn. I have a special guest here today, and her name is Wendy Simpson. And you don't want to leave. You just want to get relaxed, sit, because she has a compelling story today. A really compelling story. But before I go on to say anything else, let me just remind you to share, like, and subscribe. And the reason you're going to do that is so that you can be inundated with the episodes for each week. For those who are visiting, thank you so much for stopping by. Subscribe and come along with us with this journey. For those who've been with us from the beginning, thank you so much. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask Miss Wendy.
Thank you for having me, Carolyn. Thank you for having me, Carolyn.
Yes, it's great for you to be here, Wendy.
Yes.
Great for you to be here. I know somehow something didn't want for you to give your story today, but we've conquered it, right? We've
Yes,
conquered.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, how has your day been so far?
So far, it's like a Monday for me because yesterday I took the day off to go into the city, New York City. Yes, yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes.
All right. And you're more relaxed. You're relaxed now?
Yes, I am
That's
because you're here.
okay. Thank you. And I'm relaxed because you're here. And I'm looking forward for you to tell your story and for others to be blessed. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
just relax. It's gonna be okay. Um, First of all, I just want to ask you first, where were you born?
I was born in Trinidad. Most people say Trinidad and Tobago, but I wasn't born in Tobago. I was born in Trinidad. But we like to say it's the Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago. In the
Yes.
late in the late 50s, that's when I arrived.
Yes, and you are an enthusiastic daughter of the soon coming king.
Yes, I am.
You attained your teacher's certificate and administrative assistant. You are. Your life began in the twin island of Trinidad and Tobago in the late 50s, right?
Yes.
You are eight. You are you have eight siblings on the mother's side and three siblings on father's side, raised by your paternal grandmother and your paternal aunt. And they did their best when they said you then migrated to New York, 1973, and you graduated from high school in 1976 and college 2008. So you're a Trini.
Yes, I am.
Okay, tell us more about where you're from.
Yeah. An American citizen now, by the way, because I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, this past March 9th. So what I can say about Trinidad is that I did leave when I just turned 14. So even though I like to say I'm Trini to the bone, I really started high school here, graduated in 1976, came here in 1973. So all I've really known for the past 50 years is America. But Trinidad, when I knew myself, I was like about 3 years old. That's all I remembered from.
Mhm.
Then my grandmother took me, my paternal grandmother took me for a vacation, not vacation, like visiting on the weekend. And I never
Mhm.
went back to the maternal home. So she raised me from age 6 to 14 years old with schooling in between. And then I migrated to America. So Trinidad was sunny and warm, and I had high school friends there. Elementary school was from school to school because my mom She wasn't really, she was real lower middle, lower class, but she tried her best. And
Oh,
then I went to elementary school, sat common entrance in Trinidad, passed for a Catholic high school,
mm,
stayed there for only 2 years, and then I came to the U.S., to Brooklyn, New York. Yes,
okay. Let's
yes,
go back a little to when you were staying with your fraternal grandmother. Yes?
yes,
What
Carol.
what was it what was it like living there? And did you miss mother?
Yes, I miss mom and my siblings because not during elementary school I would sneak away. She would come visit. But after I got to high school, a little bit more independent, taking the bus. In those days there were bus system. You would
Hmm.
so you had a little more independence, and I would, instead of coming home, sometimes I would go to my mom's home. They lived in the same town, and that was frowned upon. So after a while, I had to stop doing it. But I really wanted to go see my mom.
Oh.
Yeah. So I missed my mom.
So when you used to go to visit her, how did she really make a big fuss
Yes,
about
she
you?
did.
She
She
did.
did. This is a little joke. She would redo my hair.
Oh yeah.
My grandmother did not like that because my aunt would comb my hair and it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice at all. My mom would
Oh,
make it neater and nicely. And I love that. My mom really, truly loved her daughter.
that's good. So
Yeah.
you felt she loved you even
Oh,
though you
yeah.
weren't with her, and that's a good
Always.
thing.
She didn't give me away. They stole me.
Okay.
I'm glad they did because I'm in New York now. If I stayed
Yes.
with, I
Yes.
would not have been in America.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed that. So what about your siblings? Are you in touch with them now?
Yes. Out of 10 children, 8 are alive. I'm the first girl. There's only one male before me. So I'm the eldest girl. But the
Okay.
second girl, the girl who came after me, she, after my mom died at the age of 33, that 15-year-old girl raised at that time it was 7 children because one child died during childbirth.
Yes. Okay.
So we were 9 siblings, but two went away. The first two, myself and the first male, came to America for a better life and left those siblings behind. So the
Okay.
interaction now, it's good. In a way, it's good, but in a way, I feel still this day like an outsider, but they don't know that I feel that way. But because I'm enthusiastic, I kind of like,
Mhm.
I let that go.
Was there a big long gap between the ages?
No, no,
No. Okay.
not
Okay.
at all. Some of them are only a year apart.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so you're in America. Looking back to Trinidad at the time, being in Jamaica in United States, tell me a little bit of how you were feeling at that time.
When I came
Not,
to the
not
US,
yeah, yeah, not being in Trinidad, which was sunny, and being here. Do you come? What year? What month did you come? You say?
in March, I mean, there was a snow.
Okay,
Yeah.
snow. Yes.
I saw snow the very first day I came.
Hmm.
I was already registered for high school, so I had no choice. The good thing about the school was that there were other people from Trinidad. I remember
Oh, okay.
yes, a friend who lived in the same town. I don't know how she knew I came, but she came into the classroom to tell me she was there. So that
Okay.
was good because my
Had
accent,
somebody to identify with.
yes, and many others, my accent was picked on. And I remember this to this day. I did not like Christmas in the US, but because I had friends, I was able to manage.
Okay.
I made myself happy. They made me happy. The life wasn't bad. My father would take us on trips, the three of us. And in the weekend, he was a very hard worker. He would bring us to Long Island. I remember that precisely. We lived in Brooklyn. He would drive us out to Long Island. So we had trips. He would take us to Far Rockaway and different areas. He wasn't a type of father that didn't do entertainment with you. That I have to give him. Yes.
Mm, mm,
So I had fun,
okay.
but still
And
missed home. I missed home.
okay.
Yeah.
And you moved when you came to United States. Which state did you come to?
Brooklyn, Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. You stayed in Brooklyn. All right. You were the youngest, you said?
No, the first girl. So I was number 2 out of 10, but the first female.
Okay. 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 Tell me you did so what about school when you came to United States in Brooklyn?
Well, I started in ninth grade. I believe it was supposed to be 10th grade, but I started in ninth grade in 1973 and graduated from high school in 1976,
Mhm.
and then went straight into college.
Okay. What subjects, what course did you do?
Liberal arts.
Okay. And you finished that, right?
No, never did until because I started a family early, but managed to finish college in 2008.
Okay.
Yes, I
So
got a, I
after,
got I got an associate's degree. I believe I can't remember what year, but that wasn't good enough for me. So I went back and got a bachelor's and finished that in 2008 after cancer. I became a cancer survivor.
okay, so let's take it one step. So you you got married. No, you were in college,
Yes.
you got married.
Well, it didn't come like that, but I'd rather not speak about that. But so
Okay.
I
Okay.
got, I got, my college was interrupted due to raising a
Okay.
family, and then I
Okay.
got married in
Okay.
between. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay. I just didn't it wasn't quite clear.
right.
All
No,
right. And then after that happened, you went back.
yes, I had to
So
because
that was good.
I always loved school. And by the way, I call myself a lifelong learner. That's how
Mhm.
sometimes I sign my name.
Okay.
I'm a lifelong learner. So I finished college after cancer in 2008 by getting a teaching certificate. Yes.
Okay. And at the time, before you went back to college, you had your children, right?
Yes, 2 children. And that's what made me stop, interrupted my education because they were only 21 months apart. Two boys,
Okay.
two
Okay.
male children. And then after the last child, the last boy was 9 years old. I at that time I was married. I
Mhm.
bought a house and with my husband,
Mhm.
and the child was a female. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Let's talk about the challenge of the cancer.
yes. The challenge of a cancer, like when most people
When
have,
were you told and on, how was it presented to you? Just tell us about the symptoms you were having so that if someone out there would have a similar situation,
yes,
everyone is different. Their symptoms
everyone
come
is different.
differently, but
You're
at
absolutely right.
least you could express it.
So, because I lived in the suburbs, right, the suburbs of Nassau County,
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking that you get top of the line care. So my symptoms were very, very painful, um, on my left side, on my sciatica nerves. At that time, I had no idea that it was my sciatica. I didn't know any. I never heard that word before.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very bad pain, so painful. And I found myself going to a chiropractor in the quote unquote suburbs,
Okay.
thinking that the doctors that I'd visited, one general practitioner, and then I went to the chiropractor. After that, I kept speaking to someone on my job, one of the teachers. And that lady, right, that teacher recommended me to her doctor, who hooked me up with a hospital called Sloan Memorial. And this,
Okay.
and this was in 1999. And
Mm-hmm.
that doctor read the MRI properly. The other doctors on Long Island, the suburbs, did not.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So
they missed.
that saved my life because
Oh.
it was actually a tumor growing on my sciatica nerve, and it turned out to be lymphoma of the large cells. Never
Mm-hmm.
heard of anything like that. Lymphoma is a blood cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be followed for life.
Okay.
Like
So,
yesterday, I told you I went to New York City. It was
mhm.
my follow up appointment to the oncologist.
Okay. So you were diagnosed with cancer, and what happened after that?
in 2000. Uh, 6 months of chemotherapy every day was brutal.
Mm.
Went down to 93 pounds with no hair, bald, no hair, 93 pounds. My sister had to come and
Wow.
shave all my hair off. That was painful. Blood transfusion. Didn't want to have any transfusion because I'm thinking AIDS from blood. That's what
Mm-hmm.
you thought.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Memorial. This is one of the best hospitals. People come from all over the world. So I figure I was in good hands because I told you I'm a administrative assistant. At that time, I didn't have a teaching degree as yet.
Mm-hmm.
When the cancer went into remission after chemotherapy and radiation, I said, Wendy, you must finish this schooling. So I went back to school immediately thereafter, once the cancer went into remission.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong. What
No,
year was this again?
I finished school in 2008.
Okay,
The cancer,
2008.
yeah, the cancer showed its ugly head in 2000. But in between it is very rough. So when people tell you or anyone that they've had cancer, they can't tell you every single step of the way.
Mm.
Carolyn, it was brutal.
Mm.
Yeah, that chemotherapy, it wastes you away. 93 pounds, no hair on my head, and then on top of it, radiation. So I had to stay into the city for the 17 days of radiation, 2 weeks to come home to my family.
Mm-hmm. And this all took place like 6 months.
No, the chemotherapy treatment was 6 months
Mm-hmm.
every, and Dennis had to take me to the city from where we live every single day. And then immediately thereafter was the radiation, no time in between.
In between. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, at least you went into remission at the time, yeah?
After, yes.
Afterwards. And then what happened after that? You went back to work?
Yes, took family
That was
medical
good.
leave, then
That
went
was
back to
good.
work. I got back my job, not the same position, but after a while, I went right back into the same
That
position
was
I
good,
had
wasn't
before.
it? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm grateful for that.
yeah. What about your relatives? So what about the support?
Very much support. I mean, oh my, especially my husband. He was the one that took me every single day to the city, every day. Even sometimes I had to be rushed to urgent care, but within Sloan,
Mm-hmm.
and also what else he had to do? Urgent care, and I was hospitalized 5 times. So when people tell you they have cancer, they can't tell you the whole story in one sitting. This was brutal, the needles and the Metaport, because it's too much sticking in your arm. So they open up your chest and put a double metal port so the medicine could go in and the pain relief. And it's the highest form of I even forgot what it's called. The highest form of code. I forgot the name of the medicine, but it would make you drowsy as if you're on drugs and
Mm-hmm.
on and
Mm-hmm.
on and on. But through it all,
You
I was,
bounced back. You went back to work.
and
So
even
did you used to take the train to work or drive to work?
no, I'm so fortunate that exactly where I live and work is three minutes apart. Three,
Oh, that was a blessing. That
yeah,
was a blessing.
yeah. Still now, till now, yes.
Hmm. Okay. So went back to work, put on your weight, get back to normal, and tell us some of the things that happened in between that.
Um, well, I told you I went to school. Yeah, I
Yes,
went.
yeah, you went back to school after
So that was hard
surgery.
because I had to do that while I was working.
Oh,
Yes, and for me to finish the school, I had great favor in working part-time to do the observations and student teaching, and then I got that certificate and just sat on it, did nothing. But the knowledge goes nowhere. The knowledge is here.
yeah.
And I love teaching.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love speaking. Yes.
That was brave of you. What
Yes.
advice would you give to those um, that would have faced cancer? I mean, you've already demonstrated it that you've been strong. You
Yes.
never gave up.
You
It
can
happened.
you can bounce back because
Mhm.
I had support like Dennis with one end supported me all the way, all the way, every single step of the way. My father
Mm-hmm.
always came and sat after work. Though in those days he was younger, but this is 2000. So my father would come after work. He would tell me things like, because I'm there every day to see my daughter, because I told you I was hospitalized 5 times,
Mm-hmm.
and it was for a duration of days. It was like horrible. But I was such an advocate for myself that sometimes I would have 14 medication per day, and I would have to manage that on my own. And doctors would come and say, wow. So I would have to remind them, nothing happened to my brains. I can speak, I can acknowledge, I can manage that. So because of that, my family was recommended to Make a Wish Foundation, and we all got to go to Disney, all because that I was an advocate for myself. Because my
Mm.
husband's kind of quiet, he doesn't speak a lot, and my
Okay.
father was just there supporting me. He said because the people in the garage saw him every day, they created a space just for him every single day.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is so nice.
so there are people, there's lots of support system, even within the hospital setting. So
Mm.
Gabriel paid my car note for me. I mean, so America is a great place. So I survived. And if you can, maybe you can't speak the way I'm speaking and advocate for myself, but you can pinpoint someone in your family. Like
I
I would
think
have
so.
a nurse friend of mine who would
Mm-hmm.
come sit and ask questions because my husband wouldn't. He did his best. My
Mm-hmm.
father wouldn't. He would come just there and be to support his daughter. But there's a lot of support around us that can help us. You can survive. If I can survive, you can.
Yes, yes.
With the help of God. I have
With
to.
the help of God.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Now we're going to come to the end soon, but tell me, what has been the greatest challenge for you up to this moment?
The greatest challenge is missing the flesh of my daughter, missing her presence. Even today I was telling someone she was my technologist. Like we would not have had to call the cable vision to fix what was the problem. She would have known.
Yes.
Like on my job, I have like, certain, she would have helped me. My
Mm-hmm.
son says, Mom, stop saying that you don't know, you do know. So I relied on her so much. I didn't idolize her because I was told not to, and I did not. Because,
Who
like,
told you not to?
this is a very true story. Only on my job, I would hear a soft voice saying to me, Wendy, if anything should happen to any of your children, you must go on. So I'm thinking it's my men children because they were much older than her, 11 years and 9 years. Never did I think would be my chocolate pie. I called her my chocolate pie. She didn't know I called her that, but I did. We did everything together. We traveled. My husband is from your island. I'm from another island. And because of her, I got to see that island.
Mm.
We would travel sometimes on a shoestring budget. But her motto was, regardless of how much money you make, you must set aside some for entertainment. So I miss that flesh. Every single extracurricular activity that I've enjoyed in my life up until age 58, it was with her. Apple picking, pumpkin picking, going to Trinidad and Tobago several times, going to Jamaica, going to parts of Florida, going to parts of New Jersey, every single extracurricular activity. And she would incorporate the grandchildren that she knew back then. She would not leave them out. We thought that she was the older child more than her older brothers, but that's just how she was. Yeah. She was my
So,
everything. Not more than God, but I enjoyed her.
and her company. So
Yeah.
what happened? If you we're gonna close soon, but just tell us what really happened in a
Okay.
sentence or two, and then
I would say that I was a type of person. This is before I got baptized in the SDA movement. I would say that I was a SVU. That's a crime show, and I overdosed on it. not
So you
knowing that,
used to watch that show.
yes, I was addicted. Who would think that I'd be in a crime show? Up till this day, it goes over and over in my head. And it all started on the night of August 12th, 2017, with a bam, bam, bam on your door. No one wants to hear your door knocking that viciously at 1:15 in the morning. And that's when my life has changed. My husband's life has changed. My grandson who lives with us, not her child, she wasn't married or anything. It's my oldest son's child.
Child.
My sister's life has changed. All the family that knew her and loved her, life has changed due to that knocking on the door. Bam, 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 bam.
When you opened the door, who was there?
The of her friend's sister, and the words were, "I think something happened to Janelle and Melissa."
Okay,
But,
so
but it was worse
Janelle,
than that. Janelle
huh?
is daughter. It was worse than that. It was just not Janelle and Melissa. It went even more. It went even further.
Okay.
And that the only reason I don't call it a nightmare, and I'm being honest, is because of God. Like prior to this, I didn't tell you I thought I was a freak for Jesus. Gospel music, 10 different versions of Bible. I'm not saying I had a perfect walk. None of that I'm saying. Gospel music only, 10 different versions of Bible. If you invited me to church, all you have to say is, "Come, Wendy," and I'm gone. I was that intense and really soaked myself in God. But I would still say I was dating him because I never really got baptized in a church. I did attend a church, but that church didn't baptize you, they just gave you membership. But I stuck to that one church and took my father for many, many years. So I was serious about God. I was totally in love with him.
Okay. So before we go, just tell us when you got the knock on the door, who was at the door?
It was Janelle's one of her best friends. So she had two very, very good best friends, and it
Mhm.
was the best friend's sister, who was
Okay.
older. She was older than both girls, older than the both best friends, knocking on the door.
Oh, I was did the police come
No,
at the time?
no,
No?
no,
Oh,
no.
it was just your friend.
Yeah, just her friend telling us to please put on our clothes and come and go to the best friend's house.
Okay. Okay. Because that's where she was.
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
she told us she was going there, even
Okay, yeah.
29 years old. Yes.
Okay. And I think when we were talking in the show, you said your husband was waiting up for her.
Always. Dennis
Always wait for
never
her.
ever slept. I did because I don't know if it's a father thing or what, but he never went to bed until he heard the car in the driveway. Because sometimes the cars would have to be switched around. Who's
Mhm.
leaving first for work in the morning?
Right, right,
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
Mm,
So he would wait up for her. So that night he was up.
okay. So
Yeah.
when Janelle came, when the persons came to the door
Yeah, one person,
and
one
one
female.
right came and told you, come, something is happening, you
Well,
have to
something
go.
she thinks that something
Something happened.
happened
Yeah.
to Janelle, and she called the other young lady's name.
Yes.
So of course, I got up, I changed my clothes, and we went out there. This was August, so it wasn't cold.
Cold. Okay.
It wasn't
Okay.
cold.
So you got up, you got dressed, your husband left as well, and
Yes,
you went to the home.
yes.
And what did they tell you happened?
No, we couldn't get near the home at all. That was when the crime scene began.
Okay.
They wouldn't allow us, and I snuck around, and they pulled me into this big, huge van that was waiting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what they said?
Oh well, before I snuck around and I was behind the tape, the crime scene tape, I,
Hmm.
I looked into a police officer's eyes and I knew. I just looked in his eyes and I knew something happened.
Was wrong.
Yeah. He couldn't hold it. I kind of knew. And when he asked me, wasn't the same police officer, but another one, they stood near us. And he asked me to show him a picture of Janelle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even get to show the picture. The same person that knocked on the door pulled out her phone and showed a picture.
Oh, because that was her friend.
Yeah, that was her friend's sister, but they were very close. That family
Close.
was super close. And that's where life changed for all of us. It's not just Wendy, but for our entire family. And I want people to know not just the nuclear family, but it affects the extended family as well. My sister still can't contain herself. People in the neighborhood still to this today, when I told her that I'm going on a show today, one of the security guards, she's like, "Oh my goodness, you're such a strong woman. What do you want me to do? Cry on work? It's not fair, but you're so strong." And it just changed the entire community too.
Mhm.
And not in a bad way only, even though it's a brutal story.
Okay. So just give us a snap of what took place, and then we'll have to come back for the episode 2. What? Just give us an idea of what, in a sentence or so, what happened, and then
This
we'll elaborate when we get back.
this was a mass murder, and a mass murder is when it's three or more people that got murdered. Well, in this case, three people got murdered and a fourth got injured badly, and that fourth person got away to tell the story.
Okay. So when we come back, we will continue with the episode 2 of. We'll talk more about your daughter who got murdered. We will now end this episode and get back. One,
Yes.
one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a strong woman you've just seen. You have to come back to listen to episode 2. You won't believe what you will hear, but she is phenomenal. This lady, she is a strong lady. She truly is strong, and she has a connection with God, because all that she's been through and for all that she did afterwards, you have to come and listen. So before I close, though, I'd like to leave a thought as usual, and it says, the ultimate, this is by Martin Luther King, the ultimate measure of a man, and I'm going to add a woman, is not where he or she stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversy. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversy. This is by Martin Luther King. Where do you stand when you have challenges? Where do you stand when we're in controversy? That's a big question to ask. I'm going to say bye bye now until we see you again. Take care.